FX presents the Indu Podcast with your host, T. Sterling Watson.
Good morning, Indubians. I'm T. Sterling Watson.
And I'm Courtney.
This is the Indu Podcast, where morning drive time meets a late night talk show, and we aim to entertain, enlighten, and provide an auditory escape with knowledge and nonsense. Thank you for stopping by and pressing play. This is episode 117, I believe. I didn't actually write that down. I just wrote notes.
That sounds right.
Yeah, it does. Trying to think if there's anything significant with 117. Actually, it's pretty close to the date of today, but other than that, nothing too in particular. I keep trying to keep an eye out on the episode numbers because every once in a while there's something that might correlate to something, and I think of that ever since, and I know it's forever ago, but ever since episode 16, someone was like, "Why do you call it Sweet 16?" I'm like, I hate you so much, but no, it wasn't real hate, but yeah,
Sure.
right. Just a little festering, like, why? Now it's always going to bug me. So, anyway, how are you?
I am doing just dandy. How are you doing?
I am much better. I had the influenza, as they call it, and and some people were scolding me to make sure that I stayed in bed because I kept wanting to leave the house, even though there's nothing they could do. Yes.
That'd be me.
Right.
Yeah. And you did it, didn't you?
For the most part.
Afar.
Yeah.
You paid attention and you did what I said.
I did escape, which there was one time I don't think I told you about it because I went to the store. I needed things, and it was at the store that I realized, wow, I shouldn't be here because I was feeling a little loopy, like a little bit of a fog.
Imagine that. Imagine that.
And I felt like people were looking at me weird, like they knew, like, you're sick. Why are you here? But then I was thinking maybe they were sick because one guy passed had a whole cart full of cans of soup. And I'm like, are you sick? Or so, I don't know.
So your paranoia was part of your illness. I'm 100% sure.
I'm not sure if that's a symptom of the flu. I'm just saying, anyone out here.
In your case, it was. I'm just saying.
Maybe. I don't know. But I made it back home safely and then went back to bed. And I was much better than the next day. And I don't know. I just like to say I would like to beat it. Or not beat it. I beat this illness much faster than, I'm going to call him a different name, Dr. Man had told me. Yeah, he's a man. My regular doctor was not available, so I had to go see someone else. And he, first of all, he came in and it was like, I know you're sick, so I would shake your hand, but you've got the flu. So I'm like, oh, great. Thanks. So
such great bedside manner.
I know. And it's like, even before I came in, like the nurse who was like doing my vitals, she came back in and was like, hey, we need you to put this mask on. So I'm like, oh, great. Just signal me out and make me feel all like, diseased and quarantined, even though, yes, I was, but still. And then even after the doctor came in, he was like, or Dr. Man, he was like, yeah, and most flu patients that come in here, they'll go and all sick and gross, but you look pretty good. I'm like, well, half my
somebody said
he did. He's like, you look good for someone who has the flu. I'm like, oh, thanks, I guess. I do have like something, half of my face is covered up, but and I feel worse than what I actually look like, I'm sure, but whatever. And then he also told me like the Tamiflu, which he would prescribe. I was already too late for that. So, okay. And he prescribed it anyway. And I haven't needed it. So, because
if he said you were too late, like you were too far gone for it, maybe just to use it as a placebo or to soothe your achy throat or something?
Well, he said if I start taking it now, maybe like I'll get better like 24 hours sooner than I normally would if I didn't use it. And I'm like, okay. I mean, it's already, I think, what was it? Either Monday? No, it was Tuesday I went. And I was like, I'm good. I'm not going to go. Because by the time like the prescription actually went through, it was like Tuesday afternoon and I was already back in bed. I'm like, I don't want to deal with it. So I just never went and got it. So,
yeah,
here we are. And, yeah, I mean, I felt I was basically fine in myself by Friday, definitely by Saturday, but yeah, by Friday I was good. And there was just like a little bit of sniffles left over. So if you do hear a little bit of sniffles now, that's just remnants of it. So, and fortunately I got my voice back just in time for this show. So good job me. My immune system. This podcast is brought to you by my immune system, which is kicking all of the booty. Like, take that flu. You got gone within like a whole week before he thought I was supposed to get rid of it. So
nice.
Yeah, because he was like, yeah, it should be gone like, I don't know, 18 days. I'm like, I don't have that kind of time.
Wow. 18 days. Did he say that?
Something like that. Like he said like 12 to 18 days, or maybe it was a bigger number than or a smaller number than that. But it was an obscene amount of time. Like a time I don't have. I'm like, I'm giving it a week. Right. Just give me a doctor's note. That's all I need.
Mm-hmm.
And, I had really had to let go of that anxiety I have, which was really weird because like that whole time I was in the very early stages of being sick, which is very quick when you have the flu. And I even learned that the difference between a flu and a cold is the flu happens almost immediately, whereas the cold, it's a little more gradual. But there was a news report talking about people getting the flu and how like 90% of people will still try to go to work because...
seriously? Even knowing they have the flu?
Yes. Or just any kind of sickness, but especially the flu because
sickness,
because they feel that pressure. Like if I don't go to work, I'm going to have even more work, or the boss man's going to be mad at me. So,
so I get that. Like even today, so I said earlier that I was just dandy. That was kind of a lie because I'm also feeling not flu-like, but I just feel ick. And I feel, like my head has been hurting a little bit today. My throat's been feeling yuck. I've had like a little bit of drainage, stuff, sneezing and such. But I haven't felt, I would prefer to not be at work, but I haven't felt sick, like actually sick. But I have been, there where I've been sick and I actually had to, talk myself out of like not calling in and not staying away because I felt that pressure of not so much disappointing people, but like, oh my gosh, if I don't go in today, I'm going to be that much more behind. I'm going to have so much to catch up on. And I said I was going to do this thing yesterday, but I didn't, and I need to do it today, or they're going to, so I totally get that.
Yeah. And it's true. And those studies are out there. So I'm like, oh, that's totally me. But I was already giving in, and I had already let my bosses know. I'm like, yeah, I got it. I got the flu. Yeah. So, which felt weird, like even just to admit it. Cause I'm like, I'm always pretty good. Like I'm usually pretty healthy. Like I usually avoid stuff like this, but this is now the second time I've had it. So, and let me tell you, have you ever had the flu?
No, I've never had, let me knock on wood. I've never had the flu. And like I haven't, prior to Thanksgiving 2019, which is just a couple months ago at the time of this recording, prior to then, I hadn't been sick in years. And so, of course, because I said that out loud to a person or two, I got sick.
By the way, okay, go on, sorry.
Well, I was just like, and I was so sick, I thought I may have had the flu, or like I was fearing pneumonia, but I'm like, nah, I probably don't have that. But I didn't know because I've never had that either. But I was just like, something is not okay. What's going on? But I thought I had the flu. But I would go to the doctor and they're just like, no, you don't have the flu. No, you don't have pneumonia. No, you don't even have strep. This is just, and they said it wasn't a cold, but it was a sinus infection. And I was actually disappointed. Like, is that it? I literally feel like I'm dying. And you're telling me I have a sinus infection?
You wanted a bigger diagnosis, something like
know.
You've got the thing. And then it's like, oh, that's why I knew it.
Yeah, I would have felt so justified and validated, but no, it was a stinking sinus infection. And that was it. And so I've had, when I was younger, I had sinus infections pretty often, or often enough, but I never remember them feeling so bad and really just taking me out so much. But I am older now, and I'm not old, but I'm older now, and I really haven't had one in, many years. I can't remember the last time I've had it. That's how long it's been. So, yeah, I almost considered going to because I went to one of those MedExpress things. So not my normal doctor, but yeah, I considered going to a different MedExpress just to get another opinion because I'm like, I don't know if she don't know what she's talking about. I don't know. It's
gotta be more than this.
It's gotta be more than this. But I didn't, and I got over it. But it was over the holidays, so that kind of stunk.
Yeah. I do recall that because a couple of times I did talk to you and I'm like, that's not your voice. And it is an odd thing because when people are sick, their voice changes and sometimes it goes through this whole sexy raspy stage. And yes, I'm talking about you. That happened with you too. Yes. And even with me,
sexy, I'll tell you that.
well, it is. Yes. And it even happened with me. And then one of my friends I was texting, I was texting them and they're like, wait, I want to hear it. Send me something you saying in your voice. So I just replied with a voice message, no. So, you just have to be around to hear it.
Wow. That's pretty savage or cold-hearted or something.
I mean, it was a cold-hearted tease, I guess, is what I was doing. But, you just have to be around for it. And then I had class and I had to answer all these questions in this voice, which was mostly me just trying to regain my voice. And I'm supposed to kind of save it, but here I am just trying to answer these questions. So I'm a participant and not just sitting here. But yeah, made it through. And I'll just say the flu is one of the worst. It literally does kill people, which that's no joking matter. But if you have the flu, when they tell you to rest, I had some of the best rest I've had. I want to jokingly say this year, but seriously, in a long time, I woke up feeling so refreshed. Wow, is this what it's like to actually sleep through the night?
Get rest.
Yes, I just woke up I could breathe through both nostrils. Part of the issues with the flu that make it so frustrating is the fevers and just the cold chills and then the just burning up, and then it just sometimes half of your body is burning up and the other half is cold and you can't regulate. And as soon as you get under a weighted blanket, you're like, oh my God, I'm burning up. And then you take it off and then you're still burning. It's maddening. And the body aches because there's no position you can get into that helps you get rid of it.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I had that too with my quote unquote sinus infections.
Which is why you're convinced it was more than that.
Well, my ears were even hurting. I thought I had some sort of ear. Well, at that point I have it all. I'm literally dying. But no, I did have ear infections, and I mentioned that. I had earaches. And I mentioned that, and she said, well, you don't have any fluid over here, and you have a little bit over here. And I'm like, oh, my God, I'm dying, and you can't see it.
I have it, whatever it is.
I have it. But I agree with you. When I was sick, if nothing else, I didn't rest the first couple of days. I really didn't rest well because I was in such pain, It was my head. It really wasn't my body. So I'm sure it wasn't the flu, but my head was so much pressure, and it was, my sinuses really were super, super inflamed. And so I just, and I couldn't take more medicine. How you can switch it out, but there's times where you're still within that window where you just cannot take any more medicine to be safe.
Right.
So the first couple of days I didn't rest well because I was just in a lot of pain. But one thing I did appreciate about the illness, the it was that it forced me to stop. Like I had to lay around all day and do nothing. I couldn't work. I couldn't like do any projects, which that sucks. But every now and then I think your body just tells you, okay, for real, stop.
Right.
Stop. Just rest, just stop.
I need this.
That's,
stop.
I mean, yeah, and that's exactly what it is. So,
and it hurts.
I guess it did hurt. I mean, but I rested for a full week because that's how long I was sick. So,
and I do have to thank you because in a way it was giving myself permission, which I know I didn't need permission. I really need to be told, I just need to not move, just relax. This is your time to binge and watch TV, even though the times would be watching me anyway. And a lot of times I do have that guilt of just sleeping, or I had that guilt of like, oh my God, I slept all day. And then I had to be reminded, oh wait, I have the flu. So that's
like you're literally sick.
That's what I'm supposed to be doing. Yes. Just go to sleep. Stop worrying about it. You're not missing anything. But there's plenty of hours of, see, there I go again. Plenty of hours I could have been doing things. Yeah.
Nope. So how do you rectify that now that you're well?
Now that I'm well, I've been, definitely back at work, and I have been missed. This is, by the way, what I wanted to tell you is that normally sometimes you feel like you've gone away, or you'll put it out of your mind, like, I'll be fine if I'm not at work. The place is not going to burn up or go on fire or whatever. That wasn't the case when I left. I get back to work. I find out Thursday, the entire hospital I work at, the power went out. So like there's a whole bunch of surgeries and things, and I'm not a doctor. Surprise, I'm a doctor. I'm a surgeon. No. All the cases, all the patients, not patients, but the surgeries and everything that was happening, they had to stop. They canceled all the rest of them for that day to the next day. And then I think it was that following day, they found out that a whole bunch of like these specific surgery packs, and there's several, like some that go specifically for the knees, for the backs, and there's just these basic ones. The basic ones, which are the most popular, we order about maybe 10 a day, and they go through, about maybe 10 or 15, but depends on the workload. All of those that they had, all of them got recalled, plus some other ones. So so and I actually saw it yesterday. There's a room where all the recalled ones went, and there's about 100 packs back there. And not only are they on recall, but some of them are on back order, and we're just trying to make do and put packs together out of other packs, and that leaves... Basically, I showed up Monday, and the whole wall of all the stuff that's normally full of all these surgery packs were empty. So
goodness.
That wasn't a good sign. And I literally came back to almost what felt like a burning building. So I'm like, I can't even... What happened? And everyone is looking to me or looking at me is like, where's this thing? Where's that thing? It's like, I don't know. I've been gone a week. I'm just getting back. So...
but that was not your fault.
It was not my fault.
You did not cause the fires to happen. You just happened to show up at a time to put the fires out.
Correct.
That's not your fault.
It isn't, but it was still kind of surprising to come back to that. Yeah.
It is what it is. It would have happened whether you were there the week before or not. It literally would have happened.
This is true. And maybe my greatest fear, or not my greatest fear, but something I've been a little concerned about, what would happen if the power went out and I was in the elevator? One of those kind of things. So, yeah, I'm in the elevator a lot at work. So that's something that kind of flashes through my mind every once in a while. So hopefully I didn't terrify anybody out there listening. That's now a new fear or something to be paranoid about. But I was just home, kind of just keeping from having to go outside. But I have been at work, and I've been putting in overtime. I know it's only 2 days so far since I've been back, but just, I'm ready. I actually felt rested and ready to go back to work. And I had felt I did kick work booty, and what else happened? Oh, the other thing that's going on is my church, we're doing our annual fast. And we are just a few days away from it ending. And the particular fast that we're doing is no meat. So no chicken, no beef, no fish. I have extended it to also no eggs because those are baby chickens that aren't chickens yet. So it's protein basically. And the only protein I guess available would be like nuts and beans and things like that. But it started getting a little rough starting I think on Sunday, just having cravings of chicken and ribs and even random things like pork rinds, which again I would consider meat, even though it's like a salty, chippy snack, but it's literally pork skin. So, and also the chicken wings and the ribs because I have perfected them in my air fryer. So I am so excited to make them again, but I have to wait until like basically Friday night in order to do that. So,
yeah, is that when the fast is over?
That is when the fast is over. Yes. But I've been making.
You're almost there.
Yeah, I've been making do since, and it's crazy how I'm not like craving a steak because normally like I love beef. I love a good well cooked steak, but no, those are the things I've been craving the most. But today for lunch I had a really good like just mashed potatoes and like why am I forgetting what they are? They look like tiny cabbages, Brussels sprouts, and they were like infused with like some kind of maple flavor. I don't know what it was, but it was just so good. And they were like cooked just right. Like people like to joke about hospital food, but at least where I work, they actually make really good food. So
yeah,
I was very satisfied and like, this is good. I am enjoying myself, especially I worked hard today. So I deserve this. And I felt good. It was nice.
Good.
Now, before we move on, I do have to give a very strong, thorough, heartfelt apology. I mean, I've been apologizing since, I let him know, but to Nick of Mega Sheen because he was in Connecticut all week. I was sick. And
aww.
Yeah, I knew he was coming. We were making plans. And then I'm like, Nick, I am so sorry. I have the flu. I cannot meet you. And I felt terrible because I really wanted to go and was like, well, maybe I can just like go, but like meet him very quickly. But no, it wouldn't have been worth it because we probably wanted to hang out and go get food or something. And it just sucked so bad and I felt terrible. So I'm hoping maybe I don't know if he'll ever come through again because he came through because of work. So he's actually traveling like all over the place and that's really awesome. So I'm really happy for him. Got this job that he seems to really be enjoying. So I'm very happy for him. And
awesome.
But we will meet again because we did meet before. We met in Baltimore, 2 years ago. I almost said last year, but 2 years ago.
Almost 2 years ago, yeah.
But we'll definitely meet again. And so sorry, but just wanted to put that out there. And now you know exactly what I was dealing with and the fact that I did escape the house and I shouldn't have. So, yeah. Because driving was weird. Yeah. Like, what are all these lights?
Do that again.
What's happening? So.
Oh my gosh.
I don't remember my car feeling this weird.
I watched an episode. I'm rewatching Avatar, The Last Airbender, the series. I do that like yearly. Because it's just perfect. That show's perfect. Anywho, I'm on the episode where Sokka is sick, and then Katara gets sick, and then I think somebody else gets sick. But basically the whole gang is sick, right? And so, but at the same time, Zuko, the villain, is acting like the Blue Mask, or is the Blue Mask, and he's doing his vigilante stuff. Anywho, but it reminds me, your outings remind me of Sokka and how loopy he was and just talking crazy up the side of his neck and seeing things. And it's great. It's hilarious until you experience it yourself, and it's not so much fun.
It isn't, but I'm sure like in this experience, looking back on it, you're able to laugh at it. I'm like, oh yeah, I was not right. I was not okay.
Exactly.
But,
correct.
Yes, I do recall that. Where is that streaming now?
It's not. I have Apple TV for a year, and apparently, and it's I don't know if I said free for a year. It's free for a year for me. And
yes,
so
you got new products.
I got new products, which is amazing. But it also like, so I own the series, which is, it's only 3 seasons, but I own the series Avatar, The Last Airbender, and apparently it connects to my iTunes where all my series are, and so I can view it now remotely through the Apple TV, and I'm like, this is amazing because I've only been able to like watch it on my laptop, which is not ideal when I'm not around my laptop. So
right, makes sense.
Anyway,
makes sense.
I was watching it on lunch today and just laughing my head off because I love that show and it's perfect.
I get it. How are you liking Apple? What is it, Apple Plus? Or have you ventured out to see what else they have to offer?
They actually have several shows that I want to watch, and I've been sad because I'm like, I don't know, I don't want to pay you people to watch this, you know. But then I found out I have it for free, and I'm like, great. So I really want to get into, I forget what it's called, but it's about Emily Dickinson. I think it's about Emily Dickinson.
I think it's just called Dickinson.
Maybe it is, but it's about the author Emily Dickinson, and it looks really cool. And there's a show called C with Jason Momoa. Momoa. Not Mimosa, but Momoa. That looks really good. I don't really know what it's about.
I believe he's part of a tribe or a leader of a tribe, and they're all blind, I think. Maybe?
I think so. So I want to watch it, and it is called just Dickinson, but it looks really good. I see that there is Oprah's Book Club. They rebooted Ghostwriter. Remember that show?
Shout out to my birthday twin, by the way, Oprah. So.
Oh yeah. But there's a show called Ghostwriter. It's a reboot of the original that used to air on PBS, which was amazing.
I recall it and used to watch it and would pretend that Ghostwriter was around somewhere reading. And
watching you and doing your... Yes.
Right, yes. Like, you can use these words. Googly gook. Do it, Ghostwriter.
Right. So the premise of C with Jason Momoa, it says a virus has decimated humankind. Those who survived emerged blind. Jason Momoa stars as the father of twins born centuries later with the mythic ability to see, who must protect his tribe against the threatened queen. And apparently Alfre Woodard is also in this show, which I did not know. So I definitely want to get into this show. It looks pretty cool. It's very post-apocalyptic, which I'm totally into. So yeah, I got some new shows to watch.
All right. Because, it's interesting how that is one of these streaming services that has come out that I'm hearing very little about.
Yes.
Except for recently, because I was watching the SAG Awards just because I happen to be on. It's not something I normally watch. But Jennifer Aniston recently won Best Actress for her show.
The morning show? Yep.
Yes. So, good job. I literally can't really say much about it because I haven't heard that much about it. No one that I follow really talks about any of their programming. So,
well, that show with Jennifer Aniston also has Steve Carell, whom I love very dearly, as if he was my own father. And so, that is another show that I'm interested in. But yeah, you're right. Apple TV has not gotten much hype, and I don't know why. And it is Apple TV Plus, so we're both kind of butchering the name. But but yeah, I don't know. I think what's happening is it's getting lost in the plethora of other streaming services, particularly the Baby Yoda streaming service. So
right.
I don't think it's too little too late, because soon everything is going to have a streaming service of its own. But I don't know, it just kind of is coming out at a weird time, and it's kind of taken the back burner to a lot of other ones, I think.
I agree. And not only that, but I'm sure you've seen it, but a certain Oh, well, I was going to literally name it. I was trying to work my way to that name. But instead, let me throw a quick segue in there. And with the smorgasbord of streaming services that we have, there is another, I'm putting in quotes, contender who's trying to enter the field and throw their feather in the hat, as it were. And we'll take other feathers and put them in their hat and make a little peacock out of it because, yes, I saw what they were doing. They did basically what Disney Plus did and had a whole thread of tweets, basically, of all the shows that they're going to have on their new NBC network they call Peacock. And I didn't go through all of it because I'm not really all that excited about it. However, there are very few on there. Like Amber Ruffin is a comedian that I actually do like to hear or watch some of her things every once in a while, but she's having her own talk show, I believe. But that's not enough for me to like, let me, jump on this bandwagon. And I am not a diehard Office fan. That's one of their big like feathers that they're like, we're going to have The Office. Nobody else is.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
I'm not happy about it. Okay.
I know you're
not happy.
I know.
I don't want to talk about it.
I must say, it might be something you'll have to purchase after, a couple seasons. And have it just like
I would.
Just like
Avatar. I'm just going to I'm just going to buy The Office because I already have like a season or two.
Well,
I'm just going to buy The Office.
That's what I mean. You're going to have to do that. So you'll have it no matter who has it. You'll have it. You'll own it.
Right.
Is Friends going to NBC? Not that I care, because honestly, I really don't.
I don't care. I don't know. So
yeah. So
I feel like it's off of Netflix now, though.
It is.
Okay, and people were very unhappy about that. But yeah, I think it's gone now. So I would assume it's going to go there to the NBC service.
Because it's not.
I don't care.
I really don't care. What I do care about is that's where 30 Rock will be going, and that's a show I probably own half of, like the series on DVD. So that's my only problem. It's on DVD, and like I really don't want to like, do that because it's inconvenient now. I thought there was Psych. That's what I'm upset about. So now that Psych is no longer a TV show, they're now doing TV movies, which I'm completely here for, but they decided, our next movie is going to go exclusively to Peacock. I'm like, no. So I may have to do a trial just so I can watch it.
Yeah.
Because what they should have done is at least screen it once on its not official network, but where the network it came from, which is USA, a Universal, Peacock owned, whatever. Show it there and then, stream it on your little service thing, whatever.
I know, right? Your cute little service, like just do it that way and to like generate interest, then make it exclusive.
Right. And then if you have your third movie, because they want to do a few movies, then go ahead and just bring it straight to Peacock. I will be less upset. I'll still be upset, but I won't be as upset because I feel like you're pushing this on me and I don't like that.
No, it's not okay.
It's like, no, don't get your feathers in my face. Get out of here.
Right.
It's enough of you.
Jerk.
I'm just trying to save my coins for HBO Max because, yes, that is the other contender I'm waiting for to enter the fray because at least they have stuff I want. They've got the Looney Tunes cartoons, like the original ones. So that's...
Really?
Yeah. Those are coming. Boondocks. A whole bunch of anime. Basically the whole Warner Brothers, like, I was going to say cast. But
discography?
Like, pretty much, yeah.
Not a discography. What is it? Good music.
Catalog.
Catalog.
Yes. Their smorgasbord of entertainment. By the way, that's our word watch for this episode is smorgasbord.
Word watch.
Which, good one.
Yes, you submitted to me. Was a couple days ago. I had to go scroll through. I was like, okay, she said a word. What was the word? So yeah, smorgasbord.
It's a great word.
It is. It's fun to say, and I always think of Charlotte's Web and Templeton singing about a smorgasbord, or just food in general, but just smorgasbord. I don't know how it goes, but I just know that word was repeated quite a bit.
Black History.
Black History.
Black History. Black History. Facts.
And our Black History fact, since we're doing the segments real quick, it was submitted to us yet again by Berto. So shout out to Berto yet again. I know he
shout.
He actually, he sent me something which had two names attached to it, but I'm really going to talk about the first name, and that is Vinette I almost said Justice Brown. Wow, that's actually a pretty cool character. Write that down. You might want to use that. I'll give that to you. That's okay. My gift to you.
Thank you so much. How did you know I needed that?
And again, the name I'm giving you is Vinette Justice Brown. The name I meant to say was Vinette Justine Carroll. Not even close. Well, at least the Justine part was, close, but still. She was an American playwright, actress, and theater director. She was the first African-American woman to direct on Broadway with her 1972 production of the musical Don't Bother Me, I Can't Cope. And until Liesl Tommy's 2016 nomination for Eclipsed, Carroll was the only African-American woman to have received a Tony Award nomination for direction. So,
wow,
that is a salute to you.
Hats off, yeah.
Vignette Justine Carroll. I did try to look to see if there's any other works that she's done that, that I would be familiar with. I feel like Black Nativity is something that I may have heard about or seen. I probably not, but
that sounds awfully familiar. I'm sure we've heard in some form or fashion.
Yeah, well, it is the Nativity, Christmas Carol, but this is written by Langston Hughes. Okay. But
okay.
I haven't seen it, but I would like to. So
yeah,
because Black people, I love Black people. I love my people.
Yeah, we're pretty great, actually.
Yeah. Dame sent me something recently. Dame, my brother-in-law, who is the host of the 4040 podcast.
Hey.
Don't have an ad to promote, so that's why I'm saying it right now. He sent me an episode from 1619, which is a podcast about, I believe that's when, I'm really guessing because I just took a brief look at what the podcast was, but I guess maybe Black people coming to America, maybe the start of it, maybe, I don't know, I could be way off, but it's produced by the Times, or not the Times, or New York Times, I think. But the episode he sent me was about pop culture music and how it really did start with Black people. So I found that to be very, very interesting. And so it's definitely worth a listen. And I don't think the podcast is produced anymore. I think there's maybe 6 or 7 episodes. So I will eventually go back to re-listen to all of those. And that's kind of what I do, or what I do during the day. So I'm catching up from last week because being sick, I wasn't listening to any podcasts. So I'm like a whole week behind and I'm catching up now. And today I finally caught up to last week's The Read, which did a read on someone we're going to talk about right now. And so again, shout out to The Read. The episode you should go listen to is called The Reader's Room, because this particular person needs a writer's room, basically. We're talking about Tyler Perry in his newest film, A Fall from Grace.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. First of all, I'm proud of you for watching the movie, because normally you like to just nope, I'm not getting near it, not touching it. No.
Yeah.
So this is
yeah. I don't know what did it this time. I don't know. I can't tell you the secrets to the magic formula because I am baffled myself. But yes, I did watch the movie.
I feel like what it was would kind of got you, at least it's still kind of maybe a carrot on a string for you, as I kind of prefaced it as reference, as how one should not write. Because that's really what it comes down to when it comes to his productions. And that's actually what the Reed was talking about as well. With one of his biggest problems is something he was boasting about. And I wish I went to go look for the video they actually referenced, where he had a whole stack of like scripts that he wrote within the past year for all of his TV shows, for all of his movies. And it says he wrote them all. And that is the problem.
Yeah.
Or, you know, he called it his work ethic too. Like he just writes alone.
Right. Well, and I think any creative out there, whether however you feel about his work or whatever, I feel like you have to give it to the man, because he does have a crazy high hustle mentality. And it's much I do appreciate, you know, what he's done in terms of, you know, he was homeless at one point. He was just struggling and barely making it, but he made so much he came from so much from that. So you have to give it to him that he really does have a hustle mentality, and he goes after it and he makes it happen. So that's amazing. But I guess the issue with that whole work ethic thing, and, you know, the slightly braggadocious nature of that was, he creates in a vacuum and doesn't see the problem with that, and then attributes that, however you want to pronounce that word, to crazy high work ethic. If you can't produce like this, then you don't have work ethic. Whereas it makes you kind of compare his quote work ethic with his quality of products. And, you know, they're arguably different. So it just is problematic in a lot of ways. It really is.
It is, and it shows in his productions, which is why I think it kind of got you interested in checking out this movie to see. It's like, okay, so he does all this writing in a vacuum by himself. Let's see what the final product is. And the other thing he was bragging about is how he shot this film in 5 days. And even that shows.
Yes.
And I was seeing it also like on the technical side, having studied like filmmaking from various things. I mean, aside from just watching movies, like I have been on sets before, and I see why it takes so many days or so long. Like, I don't know what the average time for a shooting movie is. It really depends on the kind of movie you're shooting, but there can be like, you know, a 20-minute scene that will take all day to shoot, because you have to get it from all these different angles. You got to change the lighting and get that right each time, let alone the actors, making sure they know their lines and pick up shots, blah, blah, blah. So in my mind, before I even saw it, I thought of Ed Wood, who is notorious for making bad films. And even the movie Ed Wood by Tim Burton will kind of show you how he'll just shoot a movie or shoot a film, shoot a scene, and move on to the next thing without even doing like a retake. So I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, no. To that, you were saying how just the technical side of it is, it's common for filmmakers to reshoot a scene, you know, more than once. But to that, I think it helps with continuity as well, because if you have to reshoot scenes, you know, you have people on set who are hired, literally, their job is to make sure that the person's hair is, and I mentioned that for a reason, but make sure that a person's, the actor's hair is the same as it was in the take before, or that the lighting is exactly the same, or if they put a pin down, that pin is still down and it's in the same spot. So for you to rush through, and I don't know the reasoning that it was shot in 5 days and why they couldn't at least extend that to 10. I don't know, but. You know, I don't know those reasons, but it's also clear, because I am somebody who prides myself in finding like the continuity errors and things like that. So I oftentimes will look for them. But honestly, I found so many errors and things like this that should have been caught.
And would have,
and would have if they had, you know, given more time to this project. But like, I found stuff that I wasn't looking for, that it was so blatantly obvious, where I'm like, I didn't even have to search this out. I didn't have to, you know, try to find it.
Right.
So it just baffles me how things like that are missed. And there is no perfect set, right? Like every set out there is imperfect. It's made up of imperfect people that miss stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But having a team and giving yourself more time to produce a quality product tends to lessen your chances of things like that getting past the cutting room floor,
Right. And part of the problem is that Tyler Perry's been making films for so long that this looks like it's an amateur job. Like you should like kind of know some of these things when it comes, because I had problems with lighting. There is a nighttime scene and it looks like it's lit with one light, like one huge floodlight. And I was actually trying to figure out, like, wait, is he shooting night for day? Meaning, which I mean, I've seen done, and it's been done like in very good ways. Like, I want to use the example of Fast Color because that's the most recent movie I've seen that's used this technique where you would shoot in the daytime, but you tint everything down in post, and it looks like it's night, and it passes. It works.
Yeah.
There's a scene in Fast Color.
Interesting effect.
It is. This, however, I was not sure if that's what they were doing, and then they just went in digitally and just blackened the sky or something, or they just used a giant floodlight, and that was their only light for filming, which I think that's what happened because they were, every once in a while, the characters, as they were walking down the street, would walk under some shadows and be completely blacked out.
Yes. Okay. I know. Yes. Yes. Yeah. I know what thing you're talking about.
Right. And it was driving me crazy just trying to figure that out. And I kind of stopped paying attention to whatever it was they were saying because the other issue, there's two issues, and these kind of fall under audio, which is, again, one of my specialties, something that I studied and learned to do. And it's not even an audio issue. It's more of a storytelling one. And that is the heavy, heavy use of narration. And
yeah. Okay.
That really takes me out when you rely on it that much. Like, rather than tell me, show me what's happening. And I mean, you are doing that, but I don't need the narration behind it to emphasize what you're doing. And in fact, at one point, and I wish I wrote this line down, I think she was saying, Felicia Rashad, bless her heart. I love Felicia. She was my TV mother, still is my TV mother.
Yeah, still is. Yeah.
And I think she took this role just so she could, spoiler alert, be a bad guy. Anyway.
Sure. Oh, big spoiler alert.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'm so sorry, but whatever. She told the character, Crystal Fox's character, I already forgot her name, and how proud of, or how happy she was. Like, I'm so happy for you. Yes. And then she coming in as the narrator said, I was. And then don't forget, she is telling this to her lawyer, this whole story, who at first was telling her, I don't want to talk about it. And now she's going off for hours telling the story.
Hours. Okay. Hours.
On a number of days too, because we keep coming back.
Yeah. Right.
So,
well,
yeah.
Well, there's a couple of things. I noticed that it was a very quick jump from, I don't trust you. So Crystal Fox's character plays a very inexperienced lawyer, and she was put on the case because they just thought it was an opening shut. And then, she goes into meet, what's her name? The main character.
Her name is Grace. Oh my God.
Grace? Yes, she goes in to meet the titular character, Grace. And, finds it, maybe there's more to the story. So she does her job. And anyways, it happens. So, but yeah, like I did notice that huge jump where Grace is understandably like, I don't know you. I've already wanted to, plead a certain way. This is how I want to do it. I don't want no fuss. I just want this over with. And she's just very, distrustful of this novice lawyer who clearly doesn't know what she's doing. Like, she didn't give her a pen to sign something. I thought that characterization of Jasmine, the lawyer, was pretty good. It was a nice touch.
Yeah.
How they showed how, inexperienced she was. But then it's like, just like you said, it's like one scene she's like, I don't know. And then next thing, Grace is like, okay, here's what happened.
Right.
And then she goes into it, and I'm like, what?
What?
Huh?
Where's the motivation for that? Why you suddenly?
Right.
I think
now.
it's like I think that's when she slid her a picture or something, and then that's what, I don't know, maybe triggered.
That's what it was. Yeah,
Still.
she sent her. Yeah, she slid her a flyer, and that was just like
who you've been talking to, and then
right. But it just didn't seem strong enough to make her want to literally tell her life story. And maybe I guess it can be argued that Grace, had kind of resigned herself to whatever was going to happen, and maybe just didn't care as much. I don't know. Maybe she thought that the lawyer was could see that the lawyer was trying to help her and was trying to get her actual side of the story.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just a very quick, it wasn't a smooth transition to that. And
and there aren't many of them either. It's like all of a sudden, like the turns, like, sure, they may be predictable, but they don't make sense. And even Shannon's sudden turn to villainy, like, haha, I'm in now. I'm finally going to do these things. Like, why don't you plant those seeds early on? Like, start making him be very, like, secretive. Like, oh, you've never been to my place and you'll never find out why. Or, I don't know, something. But
there was not enough. Yeah, there wasn't enough other than his hairstyle. But other than that, there was no, like clues or hints or whatever. Because everybody knew, if you watch the trailer, everybody knew that he was the bad guy, and he,
right.
He did things that, really messed her up. But in the movie, when you're watching the movie out in front of you, I don't know. It was just there was no lead into that. I don't know.
I was waiting for whatever the twist would be, because that's what everyone on Twitter kept talking about. I was like, oh, that twist, I'm still recovering from it. And I'm like,
I figured it out, upon the first meeting of that character. Well, not the first meeting, when she, well, I don't want to actually spoil it, but I don't know. Excuse me. I'm so choked up at this movie.
Right. It's something. I just want to put this out here, because I really wanted to describe it on Twitter, and I still may do it later, but the way that because yes, I agree with Candace Frederick. She wrote a frequent guest on the show. She wrote a lovely review of this, and I am still thinking about it, how it is like a Hallmark movie, but bad. And but not only that, but it was giving me vibes, and only a few people, I'm thinking of Berto, it gave me vibes of The Room, which is a movie I've been trying to get you to watch forever, because it is a horrible movie, but because of the music of the score, I'm putting that in quotes, because it is so overbearing and it is so like heavy-handed.
Okay. And
there are times where like it is like front and center, like it is almost another character. It is so blatant and loud and like playing with the narration and with whatever is happening like on screen. It's just too much. Like, calm down. You want me to feel sadness or something? And it felt really awkward when Tyler Perry's character, who, by the way, that is another weird characterization going on, when he came into the interrogation room, and the way the lighting was, it almost made him look like a godly figure, and he had nothing godly going on with him. Like, he was like, you're going to jail. You should have took the plea deal, or something like that. And the music was also...
plea deal. You should have took it.
Right. The music was also kind of in an uplifting kind of manner. I'm like, this isn't jiving very well. This is disjointed in the worst way, and this needs to be fixed. But it's too late because it's 5 days. So
it's already out there. Hey,
it's already out there.
He could do like Cats and do like a re-release or something. I mean, they did it.
And go back. Yeah.
Why can't he?
You're right. You're right. And since I mentioned him, I will talk briefly about his character and how I'm not even entirely sure what he is. Is he a lawyer and he just didn't want to take this case, or he just runs that office?
I feel like all of them are lawyers, and he's just the guy who doesn't. I mean, they work for the they're public defenders.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like they're all lawyers, even him. And he's just the supervising lawyer or the guy who's over it, I'm assuming. I mean, because he assigns the cases. So
right.
I can't imagine him not having any law background.
Right. Because it just seemed weird. They were all like there for her case, the trial. And
yeah,
like, even though she
took
all
it. Of them.
Right. Yeah, not all of them.
I think it was like her two friends, her two like co-worker boos.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think he was just there because it shouldn't have gone to trial. Well, he felt it shouldn't have gone to trial in the first place. And he was there to see her downfall, I guess. So,
which also seemed weird because I felt at some point he maybe would have come in. I know he wanted her to fail. Like, if you take this and you fail, you're fired or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But there could have been a moment of redemption even for that character. Like, hey, here's a tip for you, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know. It was mishandled. Like, maybe she shouldn't have gone to court. Maybe she wasn't ready. There was like this thing with the phone records that like, I didn't know about that. And like, well, I guess it's a problem.
Right.
Her husband was not a good cop because he left two people handcuffed, just, walked away.
He did. Two people. Twice in the same day. Like,
in the same day.
You did it once, you got the first time I was like, okay, cool. He's just freaking out.
Mm-hmm.
But then you do it again to the person that actually probably for real needs to be handcuffed. And you come up and stay there. He told both of these people to stay there.
Well, the first guy, he had him on the hood of his car. He got back in his car and drove away. Like,
right.
I was like, what are you doing? Like, he just like had his hands up. What are you doing? But he couldn't because he was still handcuffed. So
right, and he clearly moved because he didn't want to fall flat on his face because he was like literally leaning on the hood of the cop car.
Right.
So he moved.
Right.
Sure, but then he did stand there. To his credit, he did kind of stand there and he was probably like really like, what? Did this just? I have handcuffs on still.
I mean, protocol,
but
dude.
The second time. I'm like, now you have reason to believe that this person is endangering your wife's life, and you're just gonna you didn't chain him or her to a door or to somewhere. But
right.
No, you just leave
something.
the door open and you just saunter on down there and
it was, I couldn't, like, really, really, dude. And I mean, the fact that he even broke in, I understand. Yes, I get it. That was his wife. He needs to go find her, save her, rescue her. But he called for backup. I don't know if backup ever showed up. I don't remember if they did or they didn't. Because I know they had this whole...
I don't think they did.
Yeah, they had this whole fight in the basement because Shannon was down there lurking and whatever. It was weird.
Did he kill him? Did he die? Did she kill him?
I mean, I thought he did.
Know.
I mean, I thought she did because the way that like the blood was splattering when she was beating him with the bat, I felt that was like, oh, you mean, you're talking about, at the end. Oh,
at the end.
Yes, because Jasmine is her name, I believe. She got the gun and she shot him dead. So.
But was he for real dead this time? Because like you said, I feel like he should have died the first time.
Right, he should have.
The bat.
The way
There's no reason.
Right.
There's no reason he should be alive.
The way the blood was splattering around, like somebody had a bottle of ketchup and was spraying it at her because of the way the blood was just
exactly. And you know what? Speaking of blood, they never came back to remember. That's how Jasmine kind of, I guess, got her lead or got really, really interested in the blood splatter, like interested in Grace's cases. She's like, these blood splatters, this pattern doesn't make sense. I really think we should hire a forensic or a blood, the person who studies blood drops and crap like that.
Right.
Forget what they're called. Cromologist. I don't know.
Blood splatter. Yes.
Yes. So, that was like the thing that made her say, something about this isn't right. Well, she was right, but they literally never went back to the whole blood splatter thing.
Right.
I'm like, is this a red herring? Did you do this just to throw us off the scent? But it also seems like a very, important thing because... Very
important. And the fact that the body couldn't be found. So...
Exactly!
Like,
what happened to the blood splatter?
There's, like, so many missing things here. And then now we're, like, knee-deep in this trial. Like, everybody's talking about it. It's all over the radio, apparently.
Never came up again, though.
Never came up again. and now she's free because man, there's just this is why like writers would come in and help and piece these things and put all of these giant, I don't even want to call them holes, let alone canyons of like plot, because like,
well, I mean, they're just unfinished plot points. Like
yes.
What is it's there's a thing called Chekhov's gun in writing, where if a gun goes off, what is it? Don't give me the line. But like if in Act 1 a gun goes off,
or you have to be shown the gun. I think you have to be shown the gun. It has to be fired by Act 3.
Yes, that's what it is. If you show the gun by Act 1 or in Act 1, by Act 3, it needs to have gone off. So it's the same thing. You're showing us stuff like blood patterns, and this seems very important. And she seems, even one of the other characters is like, yeah, now you're asking the questions that a real lawyer would ask. So it's like, oh, okay, cool, character growth, that's cool. And then we never hear about it again. And meanwhile, I'm like, okay, cool. That was a really good point. That like made her, gave her a boost and, encouraged her to like do this thing. And here we are at the end of the movie, and we still have heard nothing about these dang blood splatters.
Right.
I don't get it.
The thing about this movie, and again, writers would come and help you with this, is this movie doesn't know what it wants to be, because the first half is about this whirlwind romance turned sour, which actually turned murder. Oh, well, not a murder, but whatever. Then the second half is a legal drama or a legal crime, like a crime movie, because that's what it felt like just, her investigating and learning the craft of lawyering as well as solving this crime.
So I was okay with that, because to me, this is just, you've got two basic, I would say the main character is Jasmine, but I would say there are two main characters. They're just on two like different sides of the story. And so I was okay with the multiple storyline, or the, more than one storyline, because you really did see like this young woman who's at the very cusp of her career, and she's, young. I don't know that she's newly married, but her and her husband are young, so they're a young couple. So you've got youth and novice, and I don't know what I'm doing, what I do, and then it's about like trusting yourself and stuff. And then you've got Grace over here, who's older, not old, but older than Jasmine is, and then she falls for this guy, which in all honesty, like she did the right thing to keep him at bay and to make sure she wasn't getting in too deep. And so that's why I was just like, I guess maybe that was the point, because it's like she did the right thing, and she was just blindsided, and then later on you kind of figure out why it happened to her and stuff. Whatever, but I don't know. I like that part of it. I like the multiple storyline part of it.
I will give
could have been done differently.
It could have. Because I thought I found what would be an error, but then again, the fact that we know now that it's over, but is like throughout the whole, like their meeting, Grace and Shannon, how they met at the art gallery. Shannon calls her like the next day or whatever, or leaves something for her, so like a picture or flower or whatever, and like at no point during that interaction did Grace ever tell Shannon like her name. But then but then I guess due to it being planned out from the beginning, it didn't matter. So I was ready to say that was an error, but that's actually, I guess, maybe they did that by accident. I don't know. So I'm gonna chalk it up to that.
Well, but we see the twist has everything to do with that. So how he knew where she worked, and how he knew her name and all that kind of stuff. Probably how to woo her, I'd imagine.
Yeah. And Grace's house, the outside of her house, looked more like an apartment to me. But that's just me.
And then you go inside, and it's this huge Victorian, like beautiful, and it doesn't fit the outside. You're right.
It doesn't.
And it looks exactly like her friend Sarah's house on the outside to me.
It does, yeah.
And they are very different on the inside. She did say she renovated it, so
I guess
I'll give you that.
And that was a lot of blood to have to clean up too. Like I didn't.
Listen. listen, a whole lot of blood. This is why I'm pissed off that we never went back to this whole blood thing. Like, it was a good point, and then it just disappeared like the body. Ugh. One thing that really irked me also was the freaking extras. Did you see what I was talking about?
Yes, I totally did. And I cracked up so much because, yet again,
my God. It was so bad.
I got so bored with their conversation that I just started watching.
I was just watching the extras. Yeah, I was watching the extras, and I was like, he just looked, he just took a drink from that cup, and there's nothing there. And he's like making swallow, like making it look like he's swallowing. There's nothing there. And then I was like, maybe I missed it. So no, I rewound it. Nope, I saw it. And then he took a bite of air on a fork.
Right, there was nothing on his fork. I saw that. Oh my God, that's incredible.
And then he didn't even put it in his mouth. Like, he put it up to his mouth. Clear as day, there was no food on this fork. I'm like, why did they not blur this person out? Like, I get you have to have extras in the background to make it look authentic, yada yada. But like, he is plain as day in front of my face, eating air and drinking air. And so
literally chewing the scenery. Yes.
Literally chewing the scenery. So then, I kept watching. I'm like, he's just looking at the camera.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. I'm like, I keep watching. This guy, he is just, and then every now and then he would like look away, like, oh, she sees me, talking about me. And I'm like, yeah, I see you. There's also another extra.
This one behind Shannon?
Yes. Who was also looking at the camera.
She drove me crazy because her last scene, I'm calling it her last scene because like she knew, like, okay, this is it. Like, our meal is over. She got a napkin and wiped the sides of her mouth, like just so like, ooh, like just a little tab there, like as if she was eating like a whole bunch of food. So I'm like, wow.
And she was also eating air. I didn't catch her not eating. I just saw her like playing with her plate, but she.
Oh, she was really into her pretend food because she was like using her fork to point at stuff, and she was really into the guy she was talking to. She was just very animated. Like,
they were laughing and stuff. That was fine, but like she also kept looking at the camera.
Mm-hmm.
There was another. We'll go back to this diner scene because there's more. But there's also when Grace got to work and found out, like, got called in to the executive's office. I was like, first of all, staring at her. As you walk by her freaking office, first of all, why couldn't you just tell her that you need to see her?
Exactly.
Second of all, you go in there. Well, before Grace even leaves her office, the lady who told her on behalf of those muckety mucks that they needed to see her, she said her thing, said her line, and then looks at the camera before walking away.
Oh, did she? Oh, I missed that part.
Yes! Go back and watch it because this lady, looked at, she was like, I mean, she was a pretty decent extra, with her lines and stuff. She delivered the line and was like, or whatever, and then looked at the camera very briefly and then walked away. Not again, Jesus.
I feel like there was. Sorry, go on.
Oh, I'm on a roll. Go ahead.
Well, it feels like there was more people that walked by her office than the people that were actually in that room. It seemed that way to me.
Probably.
And that is definitely not. Like, that's definitely not how, like, business is done. Like, if you're going to fire someone, it's maybe 2 people at most that will be in that room and say, like, hey, we found these problems and you're fired. So it's not going to be the board of directors.
Allow her to address it or something. Like, they didn't give her any, like, she even started talking and old boy cut her off. I said, oh, no, that's when I, may need to really get fired at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't give her a chance to speak. This was like, nope, this is what we found, you're fired. And I know with banks, like, okay, sure.
Right.
But I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, you don't call all board of directors just to, have them all come down for this.
Like, but drama, so whatever.
And he's got this huge studio, but I think he used like the same room, not only for Grace's office, but for the mortgage person. When she goes to same set, all they did is just change up the pictures on the wall, but that's about it.
Yes, it looked exactly the same.
I'm pretty sure whatever's on the computer screen was the same thing that was on Grace's computer screen.
Oh, that's smart. Oh, I'm going to have to see that one. But I thought the same thing. And I was like, wait, is she at her bank or is she just at
nope, the sun was in the same spot.
Bank or same spot? Did she move it to her office that quick?
Yeah, it's like right next door. It's like, oh, I get my mortgage done over here. So
could have at least moved the desk in a different place to make it like it, but it was the exact same shot as if it was Grace's office. Like, you can use the same room because sure, budget, but it's just gosh.
5 days.
They didn't shut the door when they fired Grace. Oh, girl hadn't even sat down. I mean, there's literally customers that you can see through the window from a conference room. They didn't shut the door.
Mm-hmm. I bet some of them were probably looking inside, looking at the camera.
I would probably. I'm sure they were. I wasn't looking at them. I was trying to figure out why these guys. The whole at the diner. Because it was a diner, okay? It was a diner. They ordered wine at this diner. Okay, if you know anything about diners, not even about, like, wine, but if you know anything about diners, you can't get wine at a diner. If I'm wrong, like, somebody in the in the listening universe, correct me.
I will say one of my favorite diners does serve wine. I will say that. But
okay.
Still.
Well, I've been corrected.
Still.
But does that diner also have a drive-through?
No.
This one did. In the movie, this one did.
I forgot to look for the drive-through, but I was just kind of looking because once they got to the wine part, that's when, like, I think I was also noticing they never really drank it or they're pretending to drink stuff. And I don't know. It just all seemed weird. Like I totally get that they were there for hours just talking and then they were like the last ones to leave. And even that shot I had a problem with because they just used the same shot, like with 3 different angles. And I'm like, are we padding the movie now? What's going on? Let's get it going. But I have to go back and watch for the drive-through because how do you know it's a drive-through? Like, what happened?
Thursday. I mean, it's not an overhead shot, but it's kind of like the wide shot of just the front of the diner with just their 2 cars in the front, like in the parking lot. And to the left, you see this big old white box, and it's clearly glowing as drive-through menus do. You can even see the drive up. I mean, there's like an arrow on the ground. I think it's an arrow, but you can for sure see where the car, where you would drive up or, to, it's a drive-through. It could, okay. I want you to go back because it could be a sign for the diner, but I don't think it is. I feel like diner signs or most restaurant signs are like up, like on a pole and it's up in the air. This was on the ground as if it was a drive-through menu.
Okay, I will look for it. And I'd be remiss if I didn't address the blatant ripoff of, I want to say it's the Nutty Professor, or it could be Nutty Professor 2, The Clumps. But when Eddie Murphy's character proposes to Miss Purdy and uses, you remember the scene where he uses fireflies to propose to her?
I don't remember that.
Oh.
It's been a while for that movie, though.
It has been, but that's what rang up immediately when I saw these. I don't know, the digital star thing that was supposed to be fireflies when Shannon brought Grace out to the woods or whatever to propose to her out there, because that's what reminded me. I was like, oh, but what made it great was, and I love Black Twitter because they actually like shot it like on their phone watching it, and there were other people in the room, and this guy freaked out because like, oh my god, she just tried to catch one of the fireflies that clearly not there.
She did. It is not there, ma'am.
But
do we need to talk about the fireflies and how terrible they looked, or no?
I mean, that was partly my just introduction to them because that was ridiculous. But and I think all she did was just twirl around, and that's how they started to become like visible.
Well, he did something. I thought he tried to block it out, but it seems like he did something to make them to stir them up, and I don't know. He did something, and then because he's like, all right, close your eyes, and then she did. And then he twirls her around, I guess, to just throw her off. I don't know. And then he does something, and it stirs them up, and then he's like, open your eyes, and that's when they're like floating up and stuff. I think.
That was more of a groan
point,
than like, oh, I see. It was like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, I was starting to kind of,
I was
not
too.
get everything anymore. So
it was like, oh my goodness, this is, at times it was getting painful because I'm like, wow, what is happening? And then that's when everything is just like, and then that's when my life shattered. I'm like, okay, well, I thought
she
it
said
was.
that a couple times.
She did, and it just kills me whenever like something happens on screen and then all of a sudden her narration agrees with it. So I'm like, okay,
You're right.
that was interesting.
I'm okay with narration. This one didn't bother me. And honestly, I can say that the movie wasn't terrible. And I feel like it's one of his better works, honestly.
Okay.
I feel like he's very much growing as an artist, and I can see the growth from like his earlier stuff. I feel like now I'm not a huge fan of the show, rather I've not seen many of them, like the dramas, but I feel like from his stage plays, his movies are getting better. Like his dramatic movies are getting better. It's interesting to watch the progression though, because he does follow a lot of the same tropes, and he just makes a lot of the same errors in each of the movies. But it wasn't my least favorite of his work. And I see growth.
I guess it just for me, it just like I would be expecting better from someone of his caliber at this point in his career.
Yes, I agree with that. So,
and especially, and I know you haven't watched it yet, and I'm so glad you're open-minded to watching it, because Acrimony for me is like his worst, but for me, it is like my favorite at this point because of how it is. And like, it's just, I don't even want to say how terrible, because I mean, there are people who will say, yes, it is a terrible movie, but there are just some things, inexplicable things that happen in that film. And again, it was brought up yet again in the read when I listened to it today, just about that just a whole scene at the end. Like once you see it, you'll understand of why so many people are perplexed by this movie. And I did a poll today, just to get the barometer of how people felt about A Fall from Grace compared to Acrimony, and 0% on both sides. No one could tell me like one or the other, because either no one has seen both of them to tell me, or they just don't know. So
interesting.
And perplexing is the word I use, because I don't want to say, I have a hard time saying Acrimony is bad because I'm sitting here telling people they should watch it. Because it's like, for me, it falls into that terribly or awesomely bad genre, which for me, Cats is in. And it's still a watchable movie, but you're just very confused and have so many questions. And then it's also one of those movies where you end up like, I need a whole bunch of people to watch this with me so we can just have a good time and not take this movie seriously, because I don't know, maybe they aren't taking it seriously, or I'm sure, Tyler Perry is, but like at some point there's like, what is happening? So
it's just interesting to watch this particular creator do his thing so spectacularly, and kind of like, now I'm not saying this is he's in the same boat as the Game of Thrones creators, but to hear them talk about how they got like this hugely high paid gig to learn what they were doing on the job, and then completely screw up what should have been a much better series finale. They were allowed to do that, and they were placed in a position to do that. Now in Tyler Perry's case, it wasn't just handed to him, which is why I really do appreciate his hustle and his grind and what he's been able to make of himself. But it's like, how is this happening to where you're getting to learn while on the job? Just what's the secret sauce here? because I keep mentioning his journey and how I can see a difference and stuff. And it's just like, yes, artists should grow, creators should grow, and they should change and make mistakes. But to do so in such a public and exclusive platform or stage, or however you want to, how, right? Like, I'm perplexed at that.
The other how question I'm asking, and I would, kind of ask him this too. Like, you've seen other Black creators who are coming up, Barry Jenkins, for example, and and this goes back to the technical side. Like, and this is actually something I do. Like, I see things that I like. I want to try to emulate that and make it, for something I'm doing. I do that with podcasts all the time. But I'm thinking when it comes to Moonlight and If Bill Street Could Talks, or even last year's Queen and Slim. However you feel about the movies or the stories, but is one thing, but the way that they look, like, you get like the best cinematographers to make it look good. And that was a problem I was having. I'm like, this looks like a B-rated film, like something that goes straight to like the DVD box or the bargain bin. And I know Tyler Perry is better than that. Like, you've got this studio.
Access.
Right. You
have access to things that most creators, especially creators of color, do not have, and yet you're not utilizing it. Why are people's wigs looking as janky as they do?
Exactly.
Why is the lighting so terrible? Why is their dialogue so in a vacuum?
You've got resources.
So cardboard? I don't get it.
And
I don't get it. Like, you've had access to so many. He has put a lot of Black actors to work, which is fabulous. I love that. I've never heard of Crystal Fox. Maybe I'm under a rock. So
I haven't either. But apparently she's been around, but I've never heard of her. And again, that's just me. I don't know. There are people I just don't know. So
yeah, well, and we just don't know her. But she's starring in this movie that's airing on a major streaming company. That's amazing. So he's doing some good stuff, but just with the craft part of it and the technical part of it, it's like, where's the disconnect here? Right.
I mean, you're friends with Oprah.
You are friends with, and I don't understand. I don't get it.
And was it you that said that maybe? I wasn't sure if it was you that said that maybe he's just surrounded by like yes men rather than.
Yeah, that because of what he has done and what he has done right, I'm wondering if people are just not. Maybe he hasn't put himself in a place for critique, or maybe people just don't want to offer it. Or, I mean, it's a tough place to be in, but honestly, that is the only way for you to get better. Is to surround yourself with people who are going to honestly and not necessarily gently, but just be truthful with the critique that they give you and honest with the critique that they give you. And it's hard. I don't know that you can do that when you're critiquing your own work because you're too close to it. But I don't know what the deal is. Maybe he's not surrounding himself with people who will give him honest feedback. Maybe he hasn't placed himself in a position to do so, or maybe he's just surrounded by folks who are afraid to. I don't know, but it's clear. I mean, and he confirmed it himself that he, at least part of that is somewhat maybe true, you know?
And he's writing like he's running out of time, but not.
Which is great. It's great. But then you need to, have your team to
go through,
check over the stuff, to go through and check over the stuff with a fine-tooth comb that you cannot see as the creator of said work.
And watch, like, maybe one day it'll click. He'll get a ghostwriter and not give him any credit, which I don't, whatever, I guess, as long as he's getting paid. He or she, as long as they are getting paid. And then all of a sudden we'll see his work change and get better. Like, oh, is Tyler Perry good now? And then we'll know, like, he got a ghostwriter. I know it. He's got a ghostwriter because this isn't a Tyler Perry line or a ghost wigist or something. I don't know, but things will get better because he will start to hear that, like, hey, you should be like, we love his story and how he has been so successful coming from nothing, literally nothing. And if only his work reflected his success, that's all.
Right.
If only it was as good. And it can be like, all he just has, just let us help you. We want you to be great.
I want him to be great now, and he's doing it with or without my approval. But I also feel like he's got the talent. It's not like it's not there.
Right.
But I don't know how much better he'll ever get if he doesn't allow that growth and the growth through the fire of critique and outside feedback.
Mm-hmm. And just other people in the room helping him. Like, you can still write everything out. Just let us come through.
That's fine. Right.
Brush it up a little bit.
You can direct it if you want. You can star in it if you want.
Right.
Do you. But when it's time to edit the thing and revise the thing and make it as tight of a story as you can, there's only so much you can do. There's only so far you can go. I don't know where that is, because he's clearly doing a lot,
right,
with this method. But if you look at the quality, if that matters to him, he's gotta open it up.
Yeah, and it's not a race. Like, it's fine. You can take your time. Take your time. I mean,
do you?
I've already made one Hamilton reference, but that took years to be as great as it is. So,
Oh my gosh, years.
Yeah,
years.
I'm
looking at my own work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I look at my own work, my book that I think I'm running on year 3 now. I can't remember, but I wouldn't necessarily call it great, but just what I have learned just in the past couple months from my book and about my book, if I rushed it out of the door when I first wrote it, it would be a hot mess, number one. It would be barely readable, but it would lack so much of the nuances and so much of the background that I just have discovered recently that it's going to, I believe, make the story and the characters that much more strong and that much more relatable. I mean, and I'm not saying that every creation takes years, but sometimes it does. Sometimes you have to stick with it and you have to develop it. And it's like a little baby,
Right.
We don't want the babies to come out too soon because they're undercooked and they're underdeveloped. And it's just like with your work, it sometimes takes more time to come together and to finish actually being done before it's ready to hit the big bad world. So,
and sometimes, most times in our society, we can't raise children alone. So
exactly, it takes a village.
Right. So
does it not?
Let Tyler Perry Town help you with, these children of yours. And, we want them to be great. So that's why we're critiquing so heavy, because we can just, bash on the film all day, which is fun. Got some good laughs out of it. But,
at the end of the day, it's about the creative collective and bettering your work as a creator.
Right. And I love just collaborating with other creators. Like, that's why you're here, Courtney. You're great. So it's much more fun to do with others and to create stuff. And again, no slight to the actors. They're just working what they've been given. So doing the best that they can. And again, I guess, the director wants to get it done in 5 days. So, okay, well, that's it. No more takes after that. So
I just can't imagine. Ugh. I don't know what the work days were like. How did you do this in 5 days?
Someone replied to my tweet. They said that they are some kind of production assistant, and it was unfathomable to him when he heard that part about 5 days. So
just to be clear, the whole movie was shot in 5 days.
Shot in 5 days, yes. I don't know how long post-production was. Maybe 2 days. I have no idea. I don't know.
Just the shooting. How? Like, a lot of the same sets were used. So,
true.
Okay.
That
just the shooting of it, like.
I'm sure there must have been like numerous. I don't want to say numerous rehearsals, because some of the lines didn't quite seem, maybe that rehearsed. I don't know, because again, working with what they had, or the material that they had. and someone else besides Tyler Perry, unless he said it himself, has, this whole schedule set basically. Like he kind of knows, okay, we're going to shoot this today, this, in this order. And, because I've seen, shooting scripts, I believe, and shooting schedules and all that stuff. So I know how that works, but still that takes time just to build the set. And that's probably also what happened. Like what you just said, using a lot of the same sets, like that office. So they shoot all those scenes that day. So.
Well, and I'm wondering, like, maybe, like the narration, maybe that was part of it. Maybe they did the narration in a different time, or maybe they did it afterwards or apart from the actual shooting. And so that way, all they had to do was act and then do the narrating part later. So maybe that was part of it. I don't know.
Like, if I going through to catch some other stuff, I'm even wondering if it's supposed to be the next day, but it looks like that they were wearing the same exact thing the previous day. It's like in the story anyway. So that, I don't know, that could be a thing. And I just want to make it clear that I am a fan. I do like narration, but when it's used, like maybe when it's used wisely, especially if it's used cleverly, but not like this. This was like heavy reliance on narration. That was my issue. Just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah. Well, if they were running out of time, though,
yeah.
Because I didn't count. I didn't count how many lines there were. I didn't time how many spoken words happened. I don't know, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe that was a plot device used to speed up production. I don't know.
Perhaps. I just know it's also probably different for him, and I may have forgotten to tell you this earlier, but his process or method of writing, at least maybe stories, because he used to writing plays, and he, with plays anyway, you can't really use narration, or you can, but it's more of an aside. Like the character actually like steps out of the scene and talks to the audience.
Right.
So the fact that you can actually do this a bit more often, in fact, that's what Acrimony does too, because Taraji's character is actually narrating everything that happens, and she's talking to someone. I forget who she's talking to, but eventually she's talking to us, but still. So that's why when I saw the trailer for this, I'm like, this feels a lot like Acrimony. And when you see it, you'll definitely see the parallels, but then it definitely splits and goes off into some crazy direction. Like, oh, well, that happened. So
yeah, interesting.
Yes. But
interesting.
That is a fall from grace. So should you feel inclined to watch it, and I say go ahead and see it, because, like we did it for research purposes. So, on how to make your movie better, because it really it always comes down to writing. It's okay to ask for help. So
it is okay to ask for help. It's the industry standard, actually.
It is. And it's that way for a reason. So that way it doesn't sound the same. And everyone else is right. The main thorough line or the main thing that he keeps doing is sad, downtrodden black women.
Black women, yeah.
That I would love for him to do some happier things, because even his sitcoms, they get pretty serious pretty fast. And that was like way back. I don't know if it's changed, because I just can't deal, because when he goes drama or goes dramatic, it gets dramatic and dark fast. So,
well, I'm okay with dramatic and I'm okay with dark, but it's always the downtrodden black woman who's gotten screwed over by a man or whatever. And there are just so many other stories to be told about black women or black people in general. There's so many other stories to tell. We are so multifaceted. Why that trope almost every time? Like, I don't know.
Apparently he's got a new show.
Oh, The Oval, right?
Besides that one, I guess it's called Bruh, but I haven't looked into it. So I'm assuming maybe it's about a bunch of brothers, maybe? I don't know. I have no idea. Because he's got a show called Sisters, apparently.
Yeah. Which doesn't have any women writers.
No, and you think it should. At least
you would think.
At least one.
At least one. Same, bro. Same, bruh.
Yeah. Wow. But that is all. I know we seem to beat him up a little bit, but you know, we're just
love.
Yeah, it's tough love. We say it how we see it, and I mean, until you do better, just do better. We want you to do better, please.
Right.
Because that was the last point I'm going to make is just supporting Black creators and how we should always do that. I'm not really always in that camp of doing that, because if you are making like crap, I'm really not going to support that, because I'm just going to just judge you like I do everything else. So if it's mediocre, I'm going to let you know, like, hey, that wasn't all that great.
Part of putting your art out there is opening yourself up to the many comments and opinions that follow. I mean, That's just part of it.
Right. And equally, if I like it, I definitely will stand for it. So, there's that too. But you won't know until you put it out. And I really like what you're doing, Courtney, with your book. You have your beta readers who, you'll send it out to them, have them take a look, and, you take their feedback. So, and that helps make it better.
It does. So,
hopefully, but I'm sure it does. And I have complete faith in you. So,
thank you.
But yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up now. Do you have any shout outs or any recommendations either? I keep forgetting to ask if you have any of those.
Well, if you'd like to follow me on the Twitters, you can catch me at IamKHinton. Well, I will probably be tweeting more about revising my book, because I'm doing a thing outside of revising my book too, and tweeting about book stuff, bookish things is part of that top secret project. So yeah, follow me there. I also would recommend the book Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. That is what I very seriously consider my creative Bible, because it is about creative living beyond fear, which is actually its subtitle. And it's amazing, and I love it. And it's one of those things where I've determined that it's going to be an annual thing that I reread. I've already reread it for this year, but it's something a book that I refer back to whenever I need a push to be creative, or a reminder of who I am as a creative, or, just a reminder to face my fears, even though the fear is definitely there. So it's just a great book. You might also want to, it's not just for those who consider themselves creatives either. It's for anybody who wants to live a more creative life, or to incorporate more creativity into their life. Not necessarily those who want to pursue a career in the arts or whatever. So it's awesome. Can't recommend it highly enough. I'm also reading Burnout by the Nagoski sisters. So Emily and Amelia Nagoski. And it's amazing. It's for ladies, or those who are female identifying specifically. And it's, again, called Burnout. It's just about how to break the stress cycle, and it's so good. So good. It's so good. I actually recommend it for anybody, but it is written for women. So just keep that in mind if you are not a woman and decide to read it. But it's awesome.
Okay. Well, I thank you for those recommendations and where you can be found. I was trying to review and think if I had anything to recommend, and I know I've been home watching things. I will recommend The History of the World, I guess. That's the name of the video. Literally,
okay.
The History of the World, I guess. And I actually meant to share it in the group chat the other day. I mean, it's been a couple weeks, but I still think about that video. And
okay. And it's literally called The History of the World, I guess?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'll even attach a link or something to the show notes. I may send it to you later.
Please do.
That's what I have to recommend. Not only that. And it's about 19 minutes long too. So yes, The History of the Entire World, I think, is actually what it's called. History of the entire world, I guess. And it is about 19 minutes long. And it is like wow. Good job, dude. There is a Instagram account that I've recently been following that is just, I don't know, it struck my funny bone in a way like this is the kind of humor that like it gets me. So, or just like, you get me. Okay. So I'm looking for the name because it's not like a word, it's a bunch of letters.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, no, I sent it to someone. Okay, I can find it that way. Here we go. The account name is K5FUWA. I believe the artist is, I want to say he's Japanese, but I really don't know. I'm really not sure. But a lot of his artwork are like kind of they're basically cartoons, and they're usually just one shot, maybe two, and it's a lot of them feature giraffes, they feature sloths, sometimes squids, and or alligators, and usually they're presented with some kind of challenge that you normally don't really think about if these creatures were anamorphized or they were like people like us, such as a sloth being as slow as he is. To explain these jokes will make it not, I don't want to say not as funny, but I'm just trying to preface you. So if you do take a look at these, take a minute, let it sink in, and then you'll probably just laugh like I do because it's incredible. I mean, there are bread people that, like, one of them is like a baguette, and his head is the baguette, but it's the long way. So he's trying to walk through a doorway and he can't because he's a baguette.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it's really simple things like that, but the way it's drawn is just like, it's hilarious. I love it so much. So that is my recommendation. That and the history of the entire world, I guess. I will say there is some language in it, so just if that bothers you, I'm just giving you that warning now. So there have been some re-edits so people could show it in their class, and I guess people really have done that. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Please link me.
I will do that as soon as possible. But yeah, follow me on all things Indoob. Yes, we do have the Facebook page. I still haven't put anything on it, but it's there. All things Indoob. That's Indoob Pod at Facebook over there. Go to Indoob.com to find the TeePublic store for merch and Patreon support and get more perks. I will be designing new shirts very soon. I have a few ideas floating around the old noggin, and eventually I will be designing the Indoob emblem, or like if I was a school or something. So yeah, I'm going to be working on that. Please rate, comment, and share the pod on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, and wherever pods are located. Thank you so much for supporting, listening, stopping by, and pressing play. Tell someone you value that you value them. Live without regrets, and live for the folks you love. Please wash your legs, your face, the bottoms of your feet, and the undersides of your dishes. I've been your benevolent host, T. Sterling Watson, and remember, if the world didn't suck, we'd all fall off.
The Indoob Podcast is recorded in a studio somewhere on planet Earth. The Indoob Podcast is part of the Indoob Network, and if you'd like to get in contact with the Indoob Podcast, please email indoobpod@gmail.com. That is indoobpod@gmail.com. You can find the Indoob Podcast on Apple Podcast, Stitcher, Google Play, and of course Podbean, or wherever podcasts may be procured. If you'd like to find out more information, please visit indoob.com, where you can find our store, the blog, and of course our Patreon if you'd like to support and donate and find more perks and fun things to listen to and watch. For Chief, DJ Joe Daddy, Bilford, this is T. Sterling Watson signing off. Thank you so much for listening. Use your words, Chief. Good boy. This has been another 3SFX production.